Welcome to my Goddess of Victory NIKKE ICEBERG video, 2nd anniversary edition. There will be spoilers, lore, and a lot of speculations, so take my words with a grain of salt. Without further ado, let's dive into it. Surface. The things in this category are well known but still worth mentioning. JP anniversary livestream. Did you know that Japanese and English NIKKE anniversary livestreams are different? Well, now you do. Just recall everything you've seen during the EM stream and compare it to this, a show featuring cosplayers and voice actresses. Exclusive Japan only merch. And in general, just more stuff. Damn, Alice, what are you? So next time, if you want some more interesting details, just watch the JP version. Red Shoes height. If you ever wondered who the tallest NIKKE is, there's no doubt it's Red Shoes. You might object, but she's not that tall without her shoes. Well, her shoes aren't shoes at all. They're part of her legs and she can't just take them off. Trust me, Cinderella tried. Eve is Grimm's mom. If you finish the story, you know that Eve created all Grimm's models, including the unauthorized Hansel and Gretel. This technically makes her their mother and them sisters. So if you wondered why the Grimms are so close despite being just comrades, that might be the answer. Nikkes don't need jaws. Time for advance in NIKKE anatomy. It's mentioned in game a few times that Nikkes have speech modules, but the biggest proof came in Old Tale's story. Little Mermaid, despite having her jaw
pounded into a pulp,
would still talk. This means Nikkes' jaws, like many of their other body parts, are purely for appearance, to avoid mind switch, not for actual talking. Eve is grave. It was already an obvious conclusion. In Old Tale's event, in EN voice lines, she's called Eve instead of Abe. This was later confirmed by Cinderella in chapter 33.
And the one who created us was Grave.
This only proves how strong Grave's maternal instincts and feelings are towards her creations, or rather her children. Speaking of maternal instincts, next level. If you read the story carefully, you probably know these things. Minigame as Cindy's struggle. If you paid close attention to the Old Tale story and minigame, you'd notice that all the raptures in it actually present people. The corruption makes Cindy see them as raptures and destroy them. The minigame narrates Cindy's story from her corrupted perspective. It's obvious that idols represent Scarlet, Rapunzel, Snow White, and Doro, but there's one more boss that resembles certain someone, False Red, who represents Red Shoes. So maybe Cinderella met Red Shoes again while being corrupted? The minigame's ending symbolizes Cindy defeating her corrupted self and regaining her true personality. Wow, you're a super player. Refers to that fun little part of the map in the minigame. Alright, maybe it will take you a few hours or days to get used to, but once you've learned how it works, you can even try and speedrun it. By the way, my speedrun will be at the end of this video. Can you beat my time? Minigame loop. Here's a hidden mechanic I discovered in the minigame, but probably it's not. Most people just beat idols for the biggest rewards, start the new game plus, and repeat. However, if you'd like to max all available skills, it would take ages, since normally idols give around 1 to 3k of currency. So I thought, what instead of beating only idols, I make the loop more interesting and defeat all the bosses from the repeating quest line. Well, I beat all the bosses, then reset the game, went to idols again, and you know what? They suddenly gave me 5k instead of 2. I thought it was a bug or something, but the orbs were also visibly larger, just to make sure I'm not insane. I repeated the complete loop again, and okay, I did it 5 times, and every time rewards grew. In the end, I was getting 10 to 13k of currency per idols fight. Once you've done a certain amount of loops, every time you start a new game plus, you will see this. Cinderella's coating. Many confuse this part, saying she's covered in glass. If that were the case, she couldn't even move, let alone take any bullet hits. If you were more cautious, you'd notice that her coating is actually
ultra high strength glass-based coating.
So, is it just another fantasy material? Maybe, but I do have an example of something that could qualify as her armor and exists in real life. Fiber reinforced plastic, also known as fiberglass. It's not only flexible and light, which perfectly aligns with Cindy's rapid movement abilities, but it is also used for creating ballistic armor in real life. Time to go deeper. Those things require a little bit more brain power to come up with. Corruption bullets. As you know, in the beginning, corruption was used by raptures just to stun Nikkes during battle. That was the whole point of it, until Red Shoes turned it into the most terrible virus. But we'll get to that later. Here's the thing. Do you remember that first prototypes of suppression bullets were tested by Oswald on Red Shoes? We also know that every Grimm's model NIKKE is unique, and as Oswald said,
all second-generation Grimm's models have unique exterior shells.
It's hard to make suppression bullets that can affect any NIKKE, so why did they suddenly work on Red Shoes? Well, suppression bullets stun Nikkes just like, you guessed it, corruption. So maybe the first suppression bullets were made based on safe version of corruption? Hansel and Gretel are the one. After seeing this moment for the first time,
Gretel and I are a single entity.
I thought they just meant that they were so close as sisters that they didn't want to be separated. But what if they are literally one person? Each of them could represent one side of personality. Hansel is more talkative and thoughtful one, while Gretel is that silent kid, literally a psycho that represents the inner thoughts of a person. Cindy's mirror obsession. Have you thought about why Cindy became so obsessed with mirrors after being resurrected? Some might think it's because she was inactive for 100 years and of course some brain functions may have been broken, especially considering the fact that she still has bits of corruption in her body. But I have a different theory. After being exposed to Vapouse, Cinderella was almost cured, but as we learned later,
When you're exposed to it, 98% of the nanomachines in the body are destroyed.
Correct. 2% remains.
and they can even reproduce. After that, she even gets injected with corruption, but somehow is able to suppress it by looking into Ave's eyes and seeing her own reflection. This is the answer. Her ambitions or willpower are so strong that by looking at herself in a disgraceful state, she can remind herself of her true mission to be the best, the most beautiful, and to save humanity. Simply put, she's not being arrogant or insane while asking for so many mirrors. She literally needs them to prevent corruption from taking over again. But this also raises a question about the necessity of Vapouse. Red Shoes Secret Lab. To know this, you'd have to dig a little deeper. By that, I mean just read the items descriptions. Pretty much it. But anyways, Lost Relics and Minigame collectibles contain tons of lore, including information about how exactly Red Shoes upgraded corruption. I'm not gonna read them for you, but in short, she tortured a couple hundreds of Nikkes to create the most dangerous version of corruption in history. And we get a glimpse on her reasoning because her lab was flooded with Cindy's pictures. This gives us a hint. She probably did all of this out of pure envy towards Cinderella. Darker Aria. Facts on this level aren't really facts, but speculations about the lore that have some ground, but can't be confirmed yet. The blue gear. It's obvious that everything in the end animation matters. Yes, even those fan service shots. Look at the items Cindy picks up from the ground. I've tried to figure out what it could be, what it means, but I wasn't successful. All I can say that it looks like a broken piece of Nikke's gear, so maybe it's time to read all the gear's descriptions. Red Shoes is Nihilister. Until the event's hard mode ending, it was just a strong theory, but now it's basically almost confirmed, because all the little details add up. Her shoes, which were initially used for this rapture, really resemble Nihilister's feet. In Liberation, Nihilister seems to know too much about Queen and Vapouse, as if she was a researcher in the past. Even the event mom was hinting at it all the time. See, broken mirror shards in this location were used to show her image above the volcano, which really resembles the very volcano from Nihilister's battle transition. And at the end of the event, even in Cindy's memories, Ave mentions Nihilister exactly at this location. Sussy Lilith's death. Another part of the animation that confused me and gave me more questions than answers is Lilith's death cutscene. Why is her body left alone? Where's the commander? Why is she smiling? Why does she look almost unharmed? Though I can give you a few answers, the whole situation is still unclear. The only thing we know for certain is that she died protecting the Ark's entrance.
Now we just need to seal the Ark. If it weren't for Lillywise, it would have been impossible.
So why does she look almost undamaged? As you know, Lilith had big problems with overheating during battles. That might be the cause of her death. As for why she's smiling, she probably witnessed or sensed Cinderella stopping the Queen? Wait. What do you mean stop the Queen? Well, in the event's hard story ending, Eve discovers the rapture counter, which to her surprise shows a finite number.
It only displayed infinity.
This directly proves that if Queen wasn't destroyed, she was at least majorly damaged and could no longer produce raptures. Just a small addition. Maybe that's exactly why the Queen is looking for Lilith's body. Her physical body was destroyed in a battle with Cinderella, but her consciousness or mind, or whatever you call it, survived. Makes a lot of sense if you, like me, believe that Queen is actually an AI. The depths. Everything on this level may sound like a crazy theories, but are they really that crazy? Q001. So there are two main opinions on who this entity is. It's either the real Queen or just her guard. But after rewatching the final cutscene animation frame by frame, I've noticed what exactly is written on her chest. With lower image quality, it looks like some kind of logo or random circle, but in reality, it's a letter Q. So what can Q stand for? You're right. Queen, the first model of Queen. Another confirmation of that is now a famous 4-edged star pattern, which I call the Queen's mark, on her forehead and chest, just like on Marian's crown, who is confirmed to be legit Queen after her transformation, or rather, evolution.
Do you understand?
I will do as you please, my Queen.
Containers are the key. You probably didn't even notice those containers in the final cutscene because you didn't pay attention. And that's fair, because why care about simple cargo containers, also known as intermodal containers? What if I said that those are the very key to Nikke lore? Well, maybe I'm just a little exaggerating, but they are indeed very important to understand something about the Queen. Do you remember this moment from chapter 26? We know that Red Hood is corrupted, and just like Cinderella, she can suppress the corruption. And what does she see as a manifestation of her corruption? Well, except of the Queen's eye, of course. The eye can be seen through a hole in a container. Look at it, and now look at those from the old Tales animation. It wouldn't make any sense to put those containers whenever we see the Queen for no purpose. Another detail about those containers on the space station is that they all have a sign standing beside them, probably with a description of their contents. If they contain simple goods, it would have been easier to just put a sign or even just a piece of paper directly on them, but those look more like museum exhibit description stands. So what could be inside them? I'll leave it to you. I'm just pointing out things that I think are important, but I do have my theories. What if they contain other models of Queen, like Q002 and so on? Who is Aria? Now, knowing the Queen's mark, let's look at Aria. Why Aria? A character that is barely present in the game stories, a simple opera singer. There isn't anything special about her, is there? Just look at her tattoos, and now at her crown. What do you see? I don't even have any theories because it's just something that doesn't make sense for the time being, but at least now you too will be aware of the question, who is Aria? But that's not it. After this instance, my paranoid mind started to seek those stars in designs of other Nikkes, and I found them. Ludmilla. Those were hard to spot. And keep in mind that the Queen's mark is not just a single 4H star, it's 3 of them, with the 2 on the side smaller than the middle one. But an even more interesting Queen's mark carrier is not even a Nikke, Enix. Maybe I'm insane seeing those stars everywhere, but let me cook. These characters can be connected to the Queen somehow. Also, Enix's skin color is the same as Aria's. They are the only 2 gray skinned characters in the game. There must be something about it. Levi is not Siren. Despite them having a lot in common in their designs, I don't really think Siren is the one who became Leviathan. The fact of Levi's eyes not being corrupted red but instead green, and knowing that Siren's eyes were yellow, that odd color change doesn't make any sense to me. Also, the similar abilities don't mean that they are the same person. Just like Maiden's Katadama, or the ability to use power of words, doesn't make her Siren. The same could be said about Levi. It's just that the useful technologies from the past are used and reused in the future, as we've seen multiple times. Unlimited saved Grims. But if Siren is not Levi, who and where is she? It might sound too sudden, but let's go back to a chapter of the main story when we first meet Unlimited Squad featuring Alice and Ludmilla. To access the lab, we first have to defeat the lab, because for some crazy reason it's a Rupture, Land Eater. Why would the lab become rupturized in the first place? It makes no sense, unless this is the laboratory where Ave or even Red Shoes worked. Red Shoes did lots of experiments with corruption. Ave created engineering miracles. It's natural that their labs were top-notch, filled with technology, maybe even an AI controlling and protecting it. And as any computational device, be it brain, harmony cube, or even a simple processor, can be turned into a Rupture. Remember how glass slippers became a Rupture?
The crystal that took glass slippers.
That's exactly what happened with Unlimited's lab, but that's not even the main point of this segment. The most interesting discovery happens inside the lab: sleeping princesses.
This is where the princesses are sleeping!
Unlimited claim to be saved Nikkes who hide their brains to be able to be resurrected later. But how would a simple mass-produced Nikke do something like that, let alone know about the process of removing and saving their own brains? Of course, not all Nikkes perish because of brain damage, and there may be some mass-produced ones in Ludmilla's lab, but those two who Alice described caught my attention.
This is Princess Blue Hair. This is Princess Yellow Eye.
Blue hair, Hansel and Gretel? Yellow eyes, Little Mermaid? What if Ludmilla found Siren and the siblings and wants to resurrect them? There are actually a lot more strange details about Unlimited, like Alice's overheating body and her tendency to call Ludmilla my queen! Ludmilla's unexplainable ability to break technical devices on touch, her will to find pilgrims for some unknown reason, and just her design itself. All of this hints towards her being a non-ordinary Nikke. Maybe they're even those lost fairy tale models? Boy, that was a long ride. I had planned a little funny iceberg video, but ended up with a lot of new exciting lore discoveries and details. Feel free to theorize in the comments, and thanks for watching.